Hey, morning, Belmont. How's it going? Perfect way to spend the morning on a rain day off at work. Well, congrats on at least having some time off. This is going to be interesting because this is actually my first time ever using an MVS to AES adapter. My friend Derek let me borrow this, the same Derek that does those awesome Dreamcast translations. So this is definitely going to be interesting. And I have the 240p test suite, but I also have, I believe I have, well, no, I guess I'm just going to have the 240p test suite. All right, well, that's fine too. I thought I had another test cartridge, but whatever. This is the better one anyway. Hey, Dr. Claw, what's up? Let's see if I have better luck at this than I did at Contra. Oh, that feels snug. So, obviously also start with make sure my audio is okay. If anybody has a suggestion, is it crackling, is it whatever, I'm going to do that annoying thing where I unmute myself. So, obviously also... Okay, all right, yeah, I think I'm good. But if anybody here, have you actually held an AES before? Because I was so disappointed the first time I did. Because it just felt like a Sega Genesis Model 1 felt more robust, I guess is the better way to put it. So I don't know, that's why I took the cartridge out to insert the adapter. I'll put it directly into the scope, into a PVM, and I will raise the camera so you could probably see. Yeah, let's do it this way. I know this isn't the best view, but at the moment we're just doing, this is a first power on, so we'll see how it goes from here. Mr. Pete, Ryan, what's up everybody? Flavio, Daniel. Oh man, so you're down 2 people, you have to let somebody go and somebody else retired. So is it one of those situations where you have to go out with the same crew, but you're doing the same amount of work? Yeah, try to find my Neo Geo controller here. I had Cruz make me a special one a couple. It's right over here. Yeah, I had Cruz make me one a couple years ago for this exact purpose, so I could have a test controller that I don't have to worry about taking out my fancy Neo Geo controllers. This is a direct wired controller. I think all I need now is just a Model 1 Genesis power supply, because this is not the model that has 5 volts required. That would be an awful way to start and end the stream if I plugged the wrong one in, but nope. Oh, Belmont, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Ah, Starius, yeah, I was hoping to eventually get one of those just to have, but I don't know. Does anybody still sell them? I should have picked one up back when I had the opportunity. Sadly, Belmont, it seems like nobody wants to work, period. I don't think it's just concrete. It's I've gotten into a couple arguments with people in the past couple weeks because they're complaining that they have to do their job. And it's like, you don't work that hard. You don't work that many hours. The work that you do isn't very hard. When you complain, you sound like just an entitled piece of shit. Do your job. Oh, no front button. I didn't lose that. I didn't lose that. All right, we have power. I got nothing coming through. There's no sync coming through. Interesting. Okay. All right, so wherever we're at now is no sync. So let's pop the sucker open and check. And I know that was a terrible view, but that was literally just a first power on showing that there's no signal coming out. So let's open the sucker up. Cyber, I guess the first issue is no sync. Ryan, selling the Furtech MVS to AES adapter. I think those are pretty cool, and I think those are some of the best ones. And not only that, I'm pretty sure the 240p test suite team, has used that to test their MVS version on an AES. You know, I'm being extra gentle, but this isn't mine. So where's my fluffy pad thingy? I still have it, so right, it's supposed to be right. Ah, here we go. Actually, it shipped with one of these, so I'll use one of those. All right. You know, this isn't the most exciting thing, but I should at least get the camera down. There we go. I was gonna do it once we were up and running, but you know. Come on. There we go. Okay. Top is off, shielding set. Let me, there to charge. All right. Hey, reasonably British. How's it going? I am going to have a video to send to you soon, if you have time. It'd be cool to have somebody double check and make sure I'm not about to make a giant ass of myself, which is fun on live streams, not at all fun in other scenarios. Okay. So it looks like none of the screws holding it in were sent with it, which is totally fine. I am just saying that out loud, so at the end of this stream, I'm not walking around looking for screws. Same thing with the power button. So let's, so this is a, can I find the model revision? All right, here we go. This is a 3.6 AES. This is the one that has notoriously bad jail bars, to the point where you could cut a trace, but it's better to just do a direct bypass and come off of here. But it wasn't working the way they had hoped. So let me check a couple of things. Let me check points. Let me check. And that's the sync line right there. All right. So, hey Stimp, I have the RetroTink VHS conversion guide should be done and launched within 2 weeks. That is going first for a couple of reasons. First, when I do the total deep dive, I'm going to be talking a lot about the tinks because I think they're a great solution. But I don't want to have a video talking about VHS capture that has 15 minutes dedicated just to RetroTink setup. Because you got to remember, the tinks are designed for video games. So by default, they're going to be configured for video games, not VHS, as they should be. So I needed to do the tink video first, mostly because of that, because I wanted to make sure all of that was set, and I could just reference that and just show examples. And be like, here's where the tink's better, here's how it compares. Go message that video, or go watch that video if you want setup instructions. But also because the more I learn, the more confusing it gets. And you get people like Reasonably British that do videos that remind me that there's even more that I haven't tested yet. So, yeah, that's why I got to jump into this and make absolutely sure I have everything done. But the short version is, if you're looking to digitize home videos, I would go with the easiest solution possible that doesn't suck. The tinks are up there. DVD VHS combos are easy, but you get MPEG compression, so that depends on the situation. If you have like an older relative that wants to digitize their tapes, you could teach them how to use that thing, no problem. And then there's a couple of other devices that are fine, but I don't know. So that's what I'll demo all of that stuff in there. All right, so I'm going by the guide, my own guide that I made a couple years ago. By the way, how do my glasses look? So 3 components need to be removed. Yes. These resistors need to be removed as well, though, and those were not. Okay, so that's part of it. So let me just double and triple check here. 6 components. All right, so let's make a note, because I also want to figure out what's wrong with sync, I guess, before I do anything else. So 3 of those resistors should have been removed. The way I'm going to do it when I eventually do this on stream is desolder one side, pull the resistor up so they're still there if it ever wants to be put back to stock. I could absolutely imagine a scenario someday where FPGA Neo Geos get so good that you'd want to put your 3.6 completely back to stock, even the original BIOS, and just have it be like a cool thing that you keep as like a, like a classic car type of thing. So let's keep going. And if anybody's curious, the guide that I'm using is the one linked right in the description. I got somebody at my front. I think it's a delivery. Sorry, everybody. Hold on one second. Sorry about that, everybody. I am back. That was a delivery. Yeah, Stimp. I wouldn't use component out. I would use, I guess it depends on the player, but I would actually copy from VHS to DVD and then rip the DVD. That means you don't need a capture card. And the point I make in the VHS video I haven't gotten to yet is, if you're teaching somebody else to do this, it might actually just be easier to hand them the player, have them do the DVDs, and then you rip the DVDs and scale them or something. So that's just something to note. 2, 3. Thanks. So this right here, and correct me if I'm wrong here, anybody in the chat, but this looked exactly like the guide. That part looked correct. Now I'm zooming in at an angle here. There are no bridge connections. I'll double and triple check with the multimeter just because it's me and I'm trying to diagnose this. but all these are correct as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, all of those were in the right place. And this wire is run through the hole, not into it. And there's that one right there. So let me continue with this then. So at least the RGB seems to be installed correctly. So at the moment, the only thing I'm seeing is the resistors and the, and I gotta check the sync again. Let's go back. And sync should be the second one in. Yeah, okay. That's corrected, connected properly. And the wire is, back to autofocus here. Where am I? There we go. That's just simply pulled through. That's not, did that? Let me try, all right, let me go back to manual focus. All right, perfect. So the wire isn't soldered to that hole, it's pulled through it and run to that capacitor. That one right there. So all of that seems to look fine. Let me just double check. So negative. So and there's another one, just another double checking. All right, that ground side goes to, man, it's really hard holding this like that. All right, so that looks correct. That's the grounded side with the sync wire coming up through it. So sync looks fine. So I don't know why we're not getting sync. So I guess we could try messing around with both a multimeter unless this cable here is sync on a different sync level. Let me see if I have a spare cable that'll work. See, this is one of the reasons, and I am absolutely not throwing even the slightest bit of shade at all, but this is why sometimes it's better to send things to experts. I'm not an expert, but I have a ton of equipment to test. So it's one of these things where it's like, if you send it to an expert that has all the correct tools as well as spare equipment, that might be all you need. So let's just plug this in. I have the scope still on, so let's just see what happens. I guess I forgot AES's don't have the pattern. AES, you need to plug in a cartridge. MVS, you just get that pattern. All right, so I am getting sync on this cable. Although, where are we here? I think. right. There's a couple other things we could try here as well. I could obviously just poke at it with the scope probe, but this is infinitely easier here. And I'm not getting any sync when I plug this other cable in. Move this up a little bit. And I'm not getting any video on the screen either. So I bet you part of the reason is, at least part of the reason we're having issues is because this cable is wired for something different. That would certainly explain it. So let's power this off. Let me just see one thing as well. Capmato S-Video isn't rare at all on a VCR. It's just rare in comparison to just finding a composite video VCR. But you could definitely find them, and you don't have to spend $1 million on it. So let me just double check my monitor and my scope setup here. Got my trusty Nomad. All right. So that's working perfect. Just to show everybody, so the scope setup is all working exactly as it should. You can see the color bar pattern up there. And yeah, and I'm getting correct sync on this. Let's move this up. All right, so the setup is fine. I have an idea though. Let me try the HD Retrovision Neo Geo adapter. I don't know if I still have that, but let me see if I do. And that way we could also just try some Sega Genesis cables to double check a few things. Because maybe the spare cable I have is wired for a weird ass MVS and not AES. So I'll just take a moment. It's a very deep box, so it might take a minute. Sorry. I'm pretty sure I have it in here, though. Neo, beautiful, right here. All right, got my HD Retrovision adapter, and I'm going to use both sync on C-Sync and sync on composite cables to test. And I guess I could use actual HD Retrovisions as well. But I want to see the, I actually want to see the scope light up first. So here it is. Does VHS benefit much from S-Video output? So that's an interesting question. Technically, yes, because all VHS is recorded with Y and C separate. So even if you had something recorded in composite video, it was saved to the tape with it separated. So it might actually be potentially a little better. But VHS is a very lossy format. Oh, yeah, it would help if I plugged power in, right? But I think it's probably a good idea. All right, I'm not really getting a signal here, and I'm on sync on composite. And I'm wondering if I get a signal at all with sync on C-Sync, and I think this is where I'm going to have to remove those resistors, because the resistors might be dropping the voltage down, and since it's out of circuit now, that would explain it. And I'm going to get nothing on this, because, yeah. Yep. All right, so that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to go back and remove those resistors. I'll use my desoldering iron. Excuse me a moment. I gotta roll this forward real quick to get to this. Alright, while this is heating up, oop, stuck on something. Come on. Careful, careful. Alright, we'll let that heat up for a second. I'll double check. What VCR would I recommend with getting for digital conversion with Reverting 4K? So the 4K has a very good comb filter. So stereo audio, if that matters to you for your recording, if it's home videos and mono, it doesn't matter. And forehead, definitely in decent condition, but composite in this video wouldn't matter as much. If you're going to a Tink 5X, it's got a good 2D comb filter, but S video might help with things like dot crawl. Mr. Mega Man fan, I did not, but I just don't like Elgato capture cards anyway. That is an X-Files poster on the wall. All right, let me reference this and just double check what resistors I'm supposed to remove. So top, the one after that, and the one after that. I'm going to, yeah, okay. So, time for my glasses. And I am not Voltar. I can't do this on camera. My skill set is fine. My skill set of trying to mod while getting everything perfectly in focus on camera, I can't do it. I'm not him. So I think actually in this case I'd probably want to use a knife. And to be very clear here, the knife that I'm using isn't for cutting, it's just that there's a sharp edge that I could easily get underneath this pin to bend it up. I'm not cutting anything, I'm just using it to pry. That actually worked really well. 2. All right. JD, no, it's not. It's actually a buddy of mine that I just said I would take a look at it for, because he did a bunch of troubleshooting steps, but I have just piles of equipment laying around. So for me, once you reach a certain point in troubleshooting, it's like, just send it over. I'll spend more time trying to explain what to test than I would just doing it. And that's not being disrespectful, it's just I have these piles of equipment here, I might as well just use them. All right. 1. 2. 3. All right, let me bend these up. All right, so I'm checking with my glasses here. I will show you as well. If it looks like anything's bridged, it's not. However, that is what I wanted to, where am I? Come on, there we go. That is what I wanted to accomplish. The 3 resistors are up, but they're not removed. So if this ever needs to go back to stock, you literally just push them back through the holes and add a couple dabs of solder. That's it, nothing else. So now, let's check out on the scope one more time and see if the voltage raises with, I'll start with the cable I had, and then we can go to bridging composite to C-Sync if we need that one. And I'll see if I can remember to plug power in this time. Let me get the cartridge in first. Okay. I'm still not getting anything off of, I'm still getting a signal from C-Sync, but I'm not getting anything out of the colors. So let me check this again. So I think we probably are going to have to go with the scope probe at the moment, just to double check all this stuff. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to have to end up doing. So so I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need the desoldering iron, so let me turn that off and let that cool for a bit. And let me grab my probe. Now, there's one trick I'm definitely going to share for anybody that's using the scope. And remember, I still consider myself very much a beginner with the scope. Everything I learned, I only know because smarter friends have taught me. But this is one that saved me a lot of time. If you're doing measurements where you're designing something, these probes are very accurate and you could leave them at 10x. But if you're just doing things like poking around looking for sync, leave it at 1x so you don't have to change the setting on your scope. That's, I can't tell you how many times I've been testing for something and I forget to set the scope back to whatever it was, and then next thing you know, I'm like, wait a minute, why the hell am I getting, 200 volts when I should be getting 20, and that's why. Also, let me double check a ground point here. I'll do that with this unplugged. I was going to learn to use the scope, but then I got high. I was going to calibrate it too. I like that song. All right. So unplugged from power. We're just checking. Yeah, and let me. There we go. I'm just looking for an easy spot to. That's what I thought. Easy ground point right there off of the AV DIN. Not a problem. Plug the power back in. Turn it on. Set ground. All right, so I do appear to be getting sync. It's since this isn't 75 ohm terminated, it shot right up in the voltage, but let me try on the top now. This is a non-conductive foam, obviously. So let me back out. All right, so I'm getting 1.2 volts of sync right on that capacitor on the input side. So that's wired correctly on the bottom. Let me double check this. Also getting it on the output side. So let me flip this around. All right, we're also getting it right there. Also getting it right there. So we're getting it in multiple points on the bottom. All right, let me unplug power now. So where am I here? So sync came through at that point and the point right above it, and I was absolutely getting it. So let me double check with the multimeter what other points that would go to, and also see why I'm not getting sync then through the DIN. Maybe I just need to reflow some of these. It's a possibility. Yeah, let me check through that. Touching the multimeter pins tips together to test continuity mode is the equivalent of clacking tongs before using them for barbecue. Agreed. All right, grab that multimeter again. All right, so let's see where on the DIN. Let me double check these solder positions as well. Oh, I think, do we have a bridge here? I couldn't tell if that was a bridge or if it was just some of the rubber from the wire kind of mushing over to it. So basically all I'm doing now is trying to figure out where to trace sync out. Try to see where it goes next. Because it got here. All right, so I'm not seeing sync anywhere on the AV multi-out, so I'm just going to reflow those really quickly. I'm going to add fresh solder to these too. That's definitely not going to hurt anything. Okay. Let me clean this. Clean that up a bit. All right, let's try again. Reflow those other two entry points as well. Interesting. I am still not getting sync, and I do not understand why. All right, all right. I had a modern power supply replacement. Uh-oh, what do you mean? Hopefully you mean a triad. Oh, sorry to hear that, Starius. Hope everything goes okay. Well, one thing that we could do, I'm going to try this out again, but one thing we could do is just put sync back the way it was on the motherboard, because that's very easy. It's non-destructive, and maybe we'll see if it appears afterwards. Let me just do a before and after test real quick. And remember to unplug the probe and plug the rest of the stuff back in. I don't think I'm going to get anything at all, but, you know, baby steps. All right, no sync at all, so let me try doing that then. That should be super, super easy. Okay, wire's already removed. Let me spin this cap back around, run it back in, and see what happens. Gotta clean up some of the solder off the bottom of that. And no, I'm not just fat and out of breath. I've kind of been programmed for a long time to whenever the solder fumes come up, I just kind of exhale lightly. All right. It looks like the pad came up where the original sink went to. If this is heat damage, then there's nothing I could do about it. I would absolutely have to send this to a Cruise or a Voltar or somebody. All right, well, let's reuse this wire here. Here. Let's do a couple of things. Because that trace looks like it's completely gone where the sink was. And if that's the case, that means too much heat could have been used to do this mod, which means there could be just more damage that's out of the scope of my abilities to repair. And that is advice that I will be comfortable giving anybody and everybody for anything that you work on. Don't be a know-it-all. Like, I know my limits, and I've tested them quite a few times, very often live on stream where I get to embarrass myself in front of a bunch of people. But know your limits, right? I'm not going to sit here and try to remove chips and fix traces. That's what Cruz does. That's not what I do. All right. All right, I'm going to double and triple check that I just connected the correct trace here. Yep, I believe so. Oh, not enough solder on the end. All right, one sec. All right. So now let's see what happens that I put the original sync connection back. I'm going to hold this up, plug it in. Oh, yeah, of course. Plug that back in. Still nothing, huh? Yeah, so I am going to take another look at everything one more time, but the fact that there's a pad missing, which I will show you all now. Look at where the yellow wire is, is connecting. Okay, right there. You see how there's no metal around that? So I just reconnected that using that wire to here. Is that a trace cut? Now that I see that zoomed, hold on a second. No, that was just a speck of solder. Nope, we're good. Okay. All right. I'm going to phone a friend, but I think I'm looking at damage here. Anybody in the chat have any ideas? Hey, do you have one moment to help? I am live on stream and I decided to phone a friend. Oh, Jesus. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna send you a link and I will put you on speakerphone. I don't know if anybody else is gonna hear you, but welcome, Lord Voltar, King of the. Never mind. So, are you near a computer?
I'm at one right now. I'm working, yeah.
All right, fire up the link I just sent you.
Gotcha.
And this is Joe's AES. And he attempted the Yes, he attempted the AES 3.6 bypass on it and was having a couple of issues. But the issue I'm having is sync isn't coming through at all. And when I probe the sync points on the CXA, it is. So here's one thing that I just found that is leading me to believe I should stop working on this and send it to you or Cruz. That's a pad missing where the capacitor leg should be, right? Where that I connected the wire to?
Well, you have to understand, there's a bit of a delay here. so I'm catching up with you, and you've turned the board upside down, and we're looking at the back. It's really blurry. Hold on, give it just a second to sort of focus in here, and I can tell you. Okay, yeah. So, I see the problem here. So all you need to do. Who did this? This looks terrible.
Oh, dude, that's not nice. Joe tried his best.
Okay. First of all, if Joe did this, then this looks really good because Joe doesn't do stuff like this. I thought that somebody professionally did this.
Oh, no, fair. Yeah, this is yeah.
If this is somebody who's never done anything like this before, or they're just now getting started, this is one of the better examples I've seen. So this is absolutely not a dig at Joe. But yeah, you've got a plated via here that's busted where the yellow conductor's connecting. It's great that you've got it connected there, but that trace is not being bodged into. So if you'll see on the corner there, we have that plated via that's just off.
Yeah, but I just connected it with the yellow wire. That's how I...
Okay, so that's what the yellow wires do. So is the yellow wire is it substituting for that trace that's busted?
Yes. However, now that's the original location of sync on this board, and these pins here are the pins for the multi-out. But this doesn't tone out at all to like...
Because it's not connected. It's not connected. And yeah, it's not connected. So what you need to do is...
Oh, wait, I think I see what you're saying. Even the other one, even this side to the left of it isn't connected.
It has to be connected too, yes. Otherwise it's not going to route anywhere. So what you need to do is, listen to me very carefully, you diabetic bitch. You need to scrape away some of the trace. You need to scrape away some of the solder mask on top of that trace that's supposed to have joined to the yellow wire there. Scrape it away a little bit with just an X-Acto knife or anything. You can even use a pair of tweezers just to remove some of the top conformable coating and tin it with solder and take a wire and just attach it to that trace, because right now as it stands, that trace is just that circuit is open. Your sync signal there is just floating off, and it's not getting you're not getting a connection.
So that is the capacitor. Can I just put this on the bottom then and use the capacitor to do that bridging manually?
You can use the capacitor. Well, hold on. It's hard for me to follow. Hold on. Let me see right here. I'm looking. Just hold on a second. If I understand you correctly, what I really need to do, can you do me a favor, Bob? Can you just put this thing down? Take your phone, take a picture of this area, and send it to me on Discord, so I don't have to fight with this delay, and I can tell you very quickly. Am I live? Can people?
Yeah, people could sort of hear you, but you're going through speakerphone.
Okay, listen, I just want to say nothing. I don't want to say anything. Never mind. So, okay, yeah. Just take a picture of this for me, and I'm going to take a look, and we'll diagnose this pretty quickly. So,
all right, picture sent.
It's going great. Okay, send. Okay, www. Two horses. All right, let's see. Okay, so hold on. Let me just take a look here. All right, now that's a much better picture. So, okay, so you've got. Okay. Well, So here's what I want you to do. So the yellow wire. Okay, so let's just talk about this for a second. So you've got. I think this is shorting out the. What I would do, Bob, is I would take that yellow wire that you've got connected to the via that's busted.
Okay.
Wait.
I'm putting the capacitor on the bottom real quick. It's already done just as a quick power on test.
I already see what the problem is. Okay. I need you to do me a favor. I'm going to send you a picture with some quick edits, and I need you to tell me.
I'm going to power this on real quick first because it was super easy to do that test, so I just going to do it real quick. And let's see what we get.
Okay.
Nothing. Not a fucking thing. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I think I see what's happened here. I need to know. So I'm sending you a small picture. send you a small picture. And by the way, I just want to say something. You know, you really threw us off in Discord when you said this used to happen to me all the time. By then.
Yeah, didn't realize what I said until after I said it. Yeah.
Okay, so I sent you a picture here. What we need to know, Bob. So you've got the yellow wire connects to one node or one end of the capacitor. Then on the other side, if you look at this picture, I've got a yellow line going between. It looks like you got two sets of vias busted there. Can you check continuity to make sure that you're buzzing between the two areas from the on each side of the yellow line that I drew vertically there?
There was definitely. Well, yeah. Hold on. I'll do it right now.
Yeah, just check that. Because that yellow line, that's the output. So that's the output right there.
Yes.
Okay. Now look at the red arrow with the question mark. What the hell is that?
I have no idea. And there's a pad missing there as well. Oh wait, no, I do know what that is. So the 3.6 mod says to remove the other 3 capacitors. Those were the RGB caps up top. However, though, the fact that that pad is gone, doesn't that mean that potentially it could have destroyed the board underneath it, shorting that together?
Well, that's the thing. So why don't you do this? Take that pad or take your multimeter, put one probe anywhere to ground, reference ground somewhere, and then touch those solder joints to see if they short to ground.
All right. Ground point.
I'm looking here. I'm looking at the pictures here.
No.
Start by connecting a wire to the bottom of pin 11 on... Wait, this is not right. I'm looking at... So I'm on your website right now. This yellow line, this is not C-Sync. This is not C-Sync. That's not pin 11 of the CXA. I'm going to send you a picture, okay? This picture, you see the white line? Do you see the white conductor in this picture that I just sent you?
Yeah.
This is the proper place to route composite sync. This bypass, I think things are mixed up on this bypass, Bob. Because if you look at this picture that I just sent you, it's pin 11, which is the pin that's connected on the left side of this white wire.
Wait, just before you go any further, that picture that you just sent me from my website shows the wire running through the via, not soldered to it.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so that sync isolation, that's just essentially using the hole to run the wire through. That's not connecting it, because that's one of the RGB capacitor points.
Let me read the description on your website. Start by connecting a wire to the bottom of pin 11, C-Sync out of the Sony CXA. Now I can look at this picture even though it's upside down, Bob, and I can count, and I can tell that this is pin 11 right here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But I'm getting sync on that pin when I grab it with the scope. Definitely. Pure C-Sync, not composite video is sync.
So that pin is composite. So okay, right. So pin 11 there is composite sync. It's routing. Okay, let me read this. Then run that wire through, just as you said, run that wire through one of the existing holes of the capacitor you previously removed. Do not solder to the hole. Simply push the wire through to the other side. Okay. Next, carefully snip the positive input leg of the following capacitor and rotate it. Okay, I see what you've done there. So Bob, regardless, I see exactly how this works, and I'm going to send you a picture of this. We just need to make sure we're on the same page so we don't waste a bunch of time. That wire, I just sent you a second picture, that wire routes through that via, and then we turn the capacitor around, and we solder to the negative input side of it, and then we're done. That is not what's happening here. Sync is not being handled this way in the picture that you sent me. In the picture that you sent me, it's all backwards.
Yeah, in the picture, you mean the picture I sent with this board that I'm working on? Yeah.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm confused. Is this not a 3.6 Neo Geo?
This is, but I was moving wires around to change the traces and stuff like that.
Okay, so, okay. The picture you sent me with the yellow wire, it's actually connected to pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got it connected to pin 5? No, you don't.
Yeah, I had it connected. I had it connected to the trace that was on the motherboard. I had changed what Joe had done just for troubleshooting, but let me put it exactly back to the way it was in the guide and just try one more time.
Yeah. So put it back there and in real time, you understand. That should fix it. I think that will fix your problem here.
Yeah, that's what I get for doing 2 different troubleshooting steps at once. My fault, but we'll see.
Listen, we all have this. We all run into this. But just looking at these diagrams, it's pretty clear though that we're pulling the wrong pin of the CXA in real time.
All right. We're in, connected. The other problem is I'm pretty positive Joe has a cable that syncs on composite video, not C-Sync, or possibly even Luma or something. Well, no, it would be because it says NES Neo Geo on this cable, and I think that might be an issue. So let me. I have the HD Retrovision adapter, as well as some Genesis 2 C-Sync cables. So let me try that to see what happens. Yeah, I'm not getting anything on sync there, on C-Sync. So let me try composite video as sync just to see. Now RGB is coming through, but I'm not getting sync on either composite video or C-Sync.
How do you know RGB is coming through? Do you see it on the scope?
On the scope, yeah, and nothing's coming through. My monitor's just out of. Well, you can sort of see it. There's nothing coming through on that. But if red, green, and blue are all working.
So here's a really simple exercise. Let's just make sure everything's working correctly. You're plugging in this into the scope, right? Obviously.
Yeah, and I got my my probe ready and available right here.
So you're not using a display. You're using a scope. Correctly?
I'm using a scope with a PVM as the 75 ohm termination, which I know isn't perfect for measuring things down to the millivolt, but it's certainly good enough for troubleshooting this.
Here's what I would do. Take that goddamn white wire. Take the C-Sync output wire. Don't worry about the decoupling capacitor. Don't worry about any of that crap. I would take that wire. It's a 5-volt swing. Take it and connect it directly to the pin on the mini DIN connector. So sync is absolutely getting to the mini DIN. If it works then and it's triggering, if the scope triggers off of it, we know the C-Sync's good. We have to fix our routing. So take that wire.
Yeah.
Disconnect it.
Excellent suggestion.
And let's connect it directly to the DIN, and let's make sure that we are getting it there.
Excellent suggestion. I'll do that right now.
And then we'll just to make sure that make sure we're getting it there, and then we'll worry about routing it through that board.
Yeah. Yes, it's working perfect now.
Okay.
So that there's probably broken traces on this motherboard.
Broken traces, and those boards are notorious for that. The Silk Screen Dias, the Neo Geo board's really a piece of shit. Not a great board to work with if you're a beginner, because it's so unforgiving. What we're going to have to do, Bob, is here's what I suggest. Let me look at the.
Hey, just real quick, for the purpose of testing into a scope, into a pretty robust PVM, there's no danger in just connecting sync directly to the sync output in this test scenario, right?
5-volt signal? No, absolutely not.
All right, I do wonder what the hell I just did with the controller, so I could go into a test pattern here. I'm gonna need a moment. Anybody see what I did with my, oh, I found it. You can stop looking.
I'm looking for a schematic of the AES 3.6 because what I'm going to tell you to do is to forget all, oh, here we go. Forget all of this shit and, let's see, here's the RAM DAC.
Okay, wait, there's more problems there's much more issues going on here. Hold on, I'll show you in a second. I need to stop working on this right now. There's more damage to the board. I'll show you exactly what's going on. And I think you're gonna tell me the same thing that I'm thinking, and stop what I'm doing. Don't make this any worse. Send it to somebody else. Manual focus. Come on, where are we here? I've seen this before on Neo Geos. So.
Has the board been? Has the board been flexed in some way, and are there a lot of broken joints around the vias that are all cracked?
I don't think so, but do you see how the text is all messed up and how nothing's looking right on the 240p suite? I have absolutely seen this before, 100%, and it required a lot more repairs than I had the skills for.
So what you're looking at here is you've got some. I know exactly what's happening. You've got some address lines here that are floating off the deck. We're missing some higher address lines here. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, I'm swapping out a cable real quick just to test Joe's cable again, but this is now out of my skill level to repair.
Now, let's be perfectly clear though. This could be a floating address line because of a bodge on the board, or it could be that your cartridge connector's not interfacing very well.
Oh, okay. You're right.
Let's just cover all our bases here to make sure we're not chasing ghosts.
Let me plug in. All right, so Joe's cable is working, and you're right. Let me, because I am using a MVS to AES cartridge adapter. Because I don't have any more AES stuff. So let me. Nope, that's worse. Well, that actually might mean it is the cartridge then. Yeah. I do.
Does that look the same or does that look different? Does that look the same or does that look different?
It looked worse, which is probably a good sign. Maybe that's my cartridge adapter then. So let me. All right. Hold on. Let me grab another cart. I'm gonna grab another game too, just in case.
Off the graphics registers. That's typically what that is. That's a very simple fix, but it just requires somebody to go through and reflow and touch all the points. It looks like something is definitely floating though on the board.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting because Joe shouldn't have been. Nobody doing a bypass should have been anywhere near the digital stuff. We're the analog section of the board for analog video, so I really don't know how the digital stuff got busted like that.
Okay, wait. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. Here's a Neo Geo cartridge. That's all right. So I take that back. That was me just panicking a little bit. This is working. So there's something wrong with my my other MVS cart. But so let me just try reseating it then. But this actually looks great. The colors look totally fine.
Yeah.
There's no interference. This actually looks fine.
See, this is why I'm here. See, you would have troubleshotted this for 6 hours and sent it to somebody else.
Yeah, that's why I don't have an ego about this shit. When I hit my limit, I call a friend.
We have to put you in the Pixel Effects Discord with
Oh.
I'm sorry, that was a little below the belt.
I mean, it's spot on.
Okay, so you're good to go. So here's what we're going to do. So Bob, I wish I could share these in chat so everybody else could follow along. If I send you a link, can you just share this so other people who are interested can look?
I could certainly try.
All you have to do is just paste this picture. Well, no, you can't paste a linked picture in there, but I just wanted people to see this so they can understand what we're about to do. This is how I do my repair. So if you click on this picture, Bob, what I've cut out here are the outputs of the CXA 1145. And if you look right there, that big square in the bottom left-hand corner, pin 11, sync out, we can see that the sync output is coupled, it's AC coupled with a 100 microfarad 6.3 volt cap. And then we put it through a 70-ish ohm, 60 ohm resistor. Let's bypass all of the busted traces. All you
Nope, I think I totally get it. While you were talking, I'm just double checking the RGB output. And while it's a little bit messed up, we are at like 720 millivolts for all three, which is totally 100% fine.
That's about right for the Neo Geo.
The sync is a little high, so basically, in order to repair this, all I would need to do now is fix the sync permanently to make sure that the voltage is dropped and there's a resistor on with the resistor, and add the capacitor for AC line coupling. Correct?
What I would do, if it were me, I would bypass all of this shit, and I would just go I would take that capacitor off the board, and I would go grab a resistor out of my parts bin, and I would just solder them directly to the mini DIN, or to the DIN 8, and be done with this.
Yeah, it's. Do I need the capacitor on there, you think?
So what cable is he pairing this with?
A fully shielded cable that appears to sync on C-Sync.
For some reason I thought you said it was a Nintendo cable or something.
Yeah, he has it labeled that it's NES Neo Geo. So I think that must mean he has his NES wired with that.
Yeah, you want to eliminate any DC from the video line in case I don't know if there is any.
Wait.
I don't remember the Neo Geo. It's safe. It's better to be safe than dumb.
Hey, you want to hear something really funny? Videos shut off about 5 minutes ago. No, I'm watching the chat. That is very funny. I accidentally hit unplug. Well, this is coming back up in a second.
Okay. But Bob, if you have like a 75 ohm resistor or a 100 ohm resistor or a 60 ohm resistor, I would grab that and I would solder it to the mini DIN, and then solder the cap on the other side of it, and just wire this. I would wire this directly into the multi DIN, bypassing all the shit on the board. That's the best way of handling this.
There we go. Okay, we're back. So, all right, I think that's the perfect answer. The only thing I'm going to check before doing that is I'm going to try, because don't Neo Geos do something weird like bridge, composite, and C-Sync, and that's why you need to do some of these mods to get pure C-Sync?
So what happens is composite sync and composite video, they go through different circuits. But in order to do that, okay, I can't remember this. Does this AES bypass? Well, it's not really a bypass. It's a rerouting. Does it eliminate composite video, or does composite video stay in the circuit?
It's been 6 years since I've did it. I totally forget. Let me.
So if you want to, so the thing is, if you don't want to keep composite video, all you need to do, if it is running it, is you just need to remove R62.
Nope. I just confirmed my original suspicion. If you don't cut any trace on the motherboard, what happens when you do this bypass is it sends pure C-Sync to both composite video and the C-Sync pins. Yeah. Okay. So that should be, all right, that should be the answer then. So that's totally fine. So what you just said to do, just add a resistor and a cap to that 470 ohm resistor. Well, it doesn't really matter what size resistor, as long as the output to the scope under 75 ohm termination says that it's between 250 and 900 millivolts, right?
Well, so this is outputting a buffered C-Sync from the 1145. What you really want, and it's treated as a transmission line, so red, green, blue, composite video, all get AC coupling capacitor, and they all have a 68 ohm resistor. I guess 68 ohms is just the Thevenin equivalent here to match their loosey-goosey. It's really not the 75 ohm impedance load right off the bat. So anything, Bob, on the C-Sync line between, let's say, 50 and 470 would be perfectly fine.
Okay, then then that's perfect. So basically all this ended up being was a couple of traces broke because of probably too hot of a soldering iron, and I saw broken traces and heat damage and panicked a little bit, but it really was just an issue with sync.
It's just an issue with sync, and again, it's a really simple little routing here. The only two components so between the C-Sync output of the 1145 and the DIN, you've just got two components in the way. The only thing that you've got in the way there is you've got circuit. But if you don't want to troubleshoot that, you don't want to get into the board, just take that shit and route it manually and just stuff a cap and a resistor on the pin connector and be done with it. It's up to you. It's whatever you
Yeah,
want to
the
do.
only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to do exactly that. I'm just going to do it on the top of the motherboard so that if he's ever doing exactly what I'm doing and pushing down on a bigger cartridge, it doesn't squish the cap underneath the motherboard.
There you go. There you go. Use the cap that's already in there. Take C40 off and just use it. I mean, you've got the component there.
That's exactly what I plan on doing. So, yeah,
This
perfect.
is a really clean workspace. All right, so are you when did Joe send you this?
Last week, but I've been sick, so I just, today is the first time I even powered it on.
I didn't even know he was doing mods like this. This is pretty good. I'm proud of him.
Well, to be clear, Joe's not doing mods, he just modded his own. So, yeah, it's...
Well, Bob, by doing his own, he's doing mods.
Yeah, no, I meant like he's not starting Joe Redifer's mod service, right?
You don't have to be a professional mod service to be a modder, Joe. Or Bob, anyone can mod and be a modder. It's fun. Don't gatekeep and act like you have to make money from doing this. What are you, a Pixel Effects senior modder?
I don't know if the chat can hear you, but that was pretty funny. All right, I am going to... All right, so this is, I should be able to get this no problem, and output the input of the capacitor is going to be the not grounded side, right?
Well, none of these capacitors. This is a series cap. It should not. It's a couple cap. The capacitor should be grounded at all.
No, I mean from the CXA to the resistor, from the resistor to the cap.
Positive input, negative output. Positive input, negative output.
Yeah.
So what's going towards the net is going to be the stripe.
Cool. That's what I always thought, but it's be stupid not to double check. So, cool. Thank you very much, Zach. I will message you a picture when it's all done, and I'll.
I'm not getting off of here.
Oh.
With you till the end.
Oh, well, this should only take another minute then, or a couple of minutes, but perfect. Yeah, I'm not you. It's not going to take a minute, but it'll. Yeah, that's fair. All I'm doing now is just flipping through my components real quick till I get the correct resistor. I don't have those fancy booklets like you guys have. Do they really? So because you helped, I'm gonna tell this story on stream. I think I forgot to tell it to you before. So you're always joking about me having diabetes, even though my doctor would always kind of joke at me. He'd look at my gut, look at my test results, and be like, "Looks like you're not pre-diabetic." So a couple months ago, it's freezing cold out, and I'm outside working in my yard, and I go back in, and my feet are frozen solid. I was like, oh crap, all right, well let me let me go in, I'll take a shower, put some socks on, and my feet were hurting and it felt cold for like 3 days. And I started thinking like, what if fucking Voltar is right and I do have diabetes?
I think I still am right. I think I'm onto something, Bob.
Do you know, I did not know this, there's something called frost nip. It's not frostbite, but it's like on the way, and anybody can get it if they're just out in cold, damp weather. And the cure is basically to I just basically filled up my bathtub with as hot of water as I could possibly stand, stood in it for like 10 minutes, and then it completely went away. But there was a solid day where I was like, if that motherfucker's right and I have diabetes.
I don't think I can live with myself.
Oh, that would have been epically funny. Yeah. Agreed. Figured you'd enjoy that one.
I appreciate you sharing that with me. You know, that's interesting. I remember this from like 8 or 9 years ago. I did a couple of them, but the 3.6 rewire is shockingly good in terms of improving video quality. You get rid of if I remember correctly, you get rid of the screen door effect. You get rid of a lot of nasty visual distortions just by fixing up the routing on these old AES 36 boards. So this is a very, very much so worthwhile mod to do if you're looking for high quality video. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The one very quick pause. It looks like Joe snipped the capacitor pins, which is completely fine. Except now because I'm trying to run a wire through, I'm going to have to desolder the legs that were there to get the other wire back through. So let me let this heat up. Let me solder the other crap while I wait. I'm going to add another minute to it.
Bob, what kind of soldering iron is that you're using? I'm just curious.
It's the one that you recommended that the tools on that forum said would explode your house if you bought it.
Oh yeah, I know that forum. What a charming place.
All right, let's this to capacitor. You know, sometimes I think about that stream we did, the messy mod work stream where we made fun of my old mod work. And the one that I always remember that still makes me laugh is when I would curl the end of a wire around a resistor leg and then add the solder that way so I wouldn't have to worry about holding it together. That still cracks me up to this day because it's one of those things where at first glance it's like, that's pretty smart. And then you think about it and it's like, no, it's not. That was very stupid.
Well, it's not time efficient, but listen, that's not a bad technique at all, especially when you get into bigger, especially when you get into smaller conductors that are very fragile. Doing a wire wrap is very, very common. So you were not doing a bad thing there necessarily. It was just Bob, Jesus.
Yeah, well, I also loved that stream because we made fun of me. So all the people that are like, they're just elitists who mock everybody else. No, we mocked me real hard the entire stream.
The people who say that still said that. It didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? You're right.
F them if they can't take a joke.
Well, nobody is allowed to tell me I'm not allowed to make fun of myself. So.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are allowed to say that. Have you been to the Classic Gaming Discord?
Oh, no, not in years. Are you kidding?
Exactly.
All right. Nice. Capacitor in and outside. Snip this. There should be All right.
Bob, I really appreciate that. What is that, a piece of foam? Like a thick 1-inch piece of foam you're putting the AES on top of?
Yeah, somebody had sent this to me as like shipping packing material, and I just thought, wow, this is awesome. This is exactly what I need for a lot of these streams that I do to hold stuff in place. But also because it's thicker, it gives me room to do stuff exactly like this, where I'm just running a wire through and I'm not smashing it up against the ground by accident.
Yeah.
So how would you test that something like this is non-conductive? I'll tell you what I did afterwards.
I'm sorry, were you talking to me, Bob? I was so bored I nearly...
Yeah.
What?
So for a foam pad like this, if you wanted to make sure that it's non-conductive and it didn't have shorts, how would you test it?
A foam pad to see if it well, first of all, Bob, I would make sure that regardless, so what you have to keep in mind, it's not so much of a question if it's conductive. Like, yeah, that's a problem if you're bridging things across the solar side of a board, but what's more important is it going to be attractive to static electricity? And I think that it really depends on the type of material that foam is made out of. So is that mylar? Is that melamine? What is it? Do you know what it's made out of?
I do not.
Polyester, some sort of plastic, obviously, some sort of polymer. If I had that on a suitable work surface that had proper ESD protections in place, I wouldn't be too worried about that piece of plastic at all. However, if I had carpet under my feet and I had a work surface, a work table that didn't have any ESD, I would be a little more wary of it. You, in your situation, with your work surface and with the ground that you have underneath you, you're okay. The best thing that you could do is tester that will make little arcs if it detects static electricity. There are a few things you can do to mitigate static electricity. One of the best things that you can do is if you're in a very dry room, for let's say, get a spray bottle and mist some deionized water or some filtered water on your work surface and in the air. That will effectively nullify any sort of transmission of static electricity, and it'll make your work surface much safer. Humidity is terrible for electronics, but static electricity hates humidity.
Those are all excellent suggestions. I hope that got through to the chat. That's exactly what I would expect and exactly what I should have done. What I did do, and I'm always wearing rubber-bottomed slippers, either flip-flops, slippers, whatever, because there's a rug down here.
Can I ask you a question? Do you still have that fan under your desk? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, do you know, there have only been 2 times I have ever lied to people, ever, intentionally. And that was one of them. When somebody asked what that was for, I was like, it's my fan. I'll tell you what, if I ever retire, I'll tell that story. How's that sound?
Okay, yeah, I would never say anything other than the fan, but yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It's not, and for everybody listening, it's not bad. I didn't call it like the Pixel FX fan or something like that. But what it was actually used for was not what I said it was used for.
So how do you test? You said what's your methodology for?
Oh, I took a junk piece of electronics, I plugged it in, and I pushed down on it.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
And it didn't short at all. I had a multimeter going to ground and everything, so that was my very scientific way of testing to make sure it was okay.
Well, if you want to be super cool, just take that multimeter and ohm it out. Set it to ohms and see what the resistance is from one end of that piece of foam to the other. Like if it's 0, then that's a really good conductor. If it's a really high value, then it's a very bad conductor and it's a better insulator.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Get some electrical tape in there. That is the draconian love sauce of mods there. Well, no, that's actually hot glue. I'm sorry. God, it's been so long. I'm forgetting what Draken was popular for. It was his not his electrical tape.
The multimeter shows nothing. And this electrical tape is the least professional thing I could do, but when I send this back to Joe, he's got to put all the screws back in, he's got to take it all apart again. I don't know if he wants to add glue, but I'll tell you, this is exactly the type of scenario in which I would add glue, not because I had cold solder joints and didn't know what I was doing, like a certain former modder, but because just to hold it in place.
Hot glue is one of my best friends while I'm modding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's one of my best friends. A lot of people have this aversion to electrical tape like you're using too. Oh, in 15 years it'll get hard and it'll dry up and fall off. That's not necessarily true. Electrical tape is a great insulator. It's a fantastic, cheap, effective appliance if you use it properly. I have no problems with the appropriate use of hot glue or the appropriate use of electrical tape.
Completely agree. The only time that I still scoff at hot glue is when people put it directly on solder joints because they think that they're strengthening their solder joints.
Well, exactly. And I did a whole video series on that about 10 years ago, so that's absolutely true. Even like in the portable community, like, if you want to inject that with hot glue, like, I get it. Like, that's not a professional product. And what I learned about the portable community in its whole is, yes, there are a lot of bad actors and there are a lot of bad players there, but more importantly, there are a lot of good people there too.
Hell yeah.
Reasonable people, and there are a lot of nice people. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of the people who are interested in portables, until they join that community or until they join the portableizing community, they've never touched a soldering iron in their life. And so these people, if you really think about it, they're creating these portable handheld consoles with wire wrap, with virtually no soldering or very poor soldering technique, and they're making things work. They're not trying to sell it. They're just trying to have a good time. So I look at people who use things like that for themselves, not for profit, but just for fun, and you gotta kind of admire them for that. Like,
Hell yeah.
I really do.
That's one of people's biggest misconceptions of you, is a lot of people think that you're this person that goes on forums, finds people's personal work and mocks it. And that's the opposite of you. The opposite. However, if there is an eBay modder out there saying, I'm the man, I'm better than Voltar is, look at me, you pay me a lot of money to fix your console, then yes, then they're in a lot of shit, deservedly so.
That's right. It's like when I thought that this was one of your AESs that you paid somebody.
No.
That's why I had to comment, who the hell did this? Knowing it's somebody that's doing this as a hobby, Joe Redifer's never done anything like this, really. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
For somebody who's never done anything like this, I've seen a hell of a lot worse.
Well, the only thing he actually did wrong was the using too much heat and burning out the pad. His work, everything was in the right spot. He used the correct resistors. The voltage is coming out perfect. So that was really the only thing he did wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's a learning curve. And, this Belmont in here, he said, I am terrified to join any modding community outside of Twitter. And let me tell you something in my experience. These private modding communities are straight up cancer. I would never join them. If you see some of the toxic crap that goes on and some of the things that are said in these like Facebook groups and stuff where
Yeah.
there's just a bunch of private modders, man, keep it open. Don't join anything like that. Just do your own thing and have fun. But look at Bob here. There you go. I have fixed everything. I am the best. I've once again saved the day.
I am super curious though. So there's the 240p test suite cart. I'm going to try it real quick again through this adapter. And we get, still are getting the corruption. Let me just...
I don't know. We're really behind here. I mean, I'm really behind. Right now you're pulling out. Okay.
Yeah, all right. So,
You're doing something.
yeah, when I thought that there was a problem with the encoder chip on the board, it turned out to be the 240p test suite cart that I have. So let me... because that was a homemade one. That wasn't a purchased one. The case was purchased, but the cart was homemade. So let me just grab my MVS, see if it happens with that, and that way I could determine if the cart's bad or if just that AES adapter that I borrowed isn't going to be the best choice for the 240p cart, which is very likely.
Joe's adapter? Was that Joe's adapter or somebody else?
No, that was my buddy Derek was nice enough to ship that over just so I could do this stream.
Okay.
All right, plugging this in.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Derek, for that.
Plugging this in. Should take only a sec here. Let's plug this fucker. Come on. Here we go. So I'm gonna first just power it on. Everything looks fine. Universe BIOS, all the lettering comes out totally fine. Crosshatch test, that's good. So this is the World Heroes cart that worked through the adapter. MVS Pro, blah, blah, blah. Let's go. That's working. And now let's try the 240p cart. And if this doesn't work, then that's my fault. That means I flashed the chips wrong.
Okay.
And, I get in crosshatch, so it's not being read inside the MVS. All right, so there actually probably is something wrong with my cart then.
If that's what it looks like, Bob.
No, I just reseated it and it works perfect now. So,
Okay, so this is a connection issue, most likely.
yeah, so maybe the connectors on this aren't perfect on either one of those, but that's, all right, well, that's cool.
Hey, Bob, can I bring something up to you real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't brace yourself. This isn't anything controversial, but yesterday I did a little live stream. An overwhelming amount of people keep asking me if we're ever going to do a retro roundtable special reunion something. The people want it overwhelmingly.
Well,
Do you have any
Zach,
thoughts on this?
Steve died like 4 years ago.
I know, but everyone's forgotten about Steve. Nobody cares anymore. So
I miss Steve.
Well, we all do. I talk to Steve maybe once a month anymore, hardly. That being said, do you think we would ever get together to do another fun special? I'm not saying have another scheduled podcast again, but do you think we would ever get together and have a fun special of some sort?
I absolutely would. I would enjoy that very much. And if you wanted to fly out to Retro World, we could do it at Retro World Expo. I think that would be pretty awesome.
Okay, when is that?
It's the last weekend in August, and that's actually the reason that Nick, Steve, and I met, is because Lance asked us to do a podcast or a panel together there. So I think that would be a really neat thing. So would you be willing to fly out? You could fly right into Bradley Airport, which is a free shuttle ride away. Lance is one of the people who runs Retro World, a friend, awesome person, and he's the reason that we all know each other.
He's not the reason I know you. I've never met Lance.
Well,
Is he the guy from the boy band?
no, but I met Nick and Steve because of him, and then I introduced all of us together. So he's the reason.
So what you're telling me is Lance is responsible for ruining your life.
Basically, yes. Basically.
Just kidding, Lance. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Are you doing a panel there?
Yes, I haven't figured out what I wanted to do yet. So there's nothing I would want to do more than the retro roundtable. That'd be perfect. What do you all in the chat think? Do you think we should all do a retro roundtable live at Retro World? I wonder if we'll get banned. I wonder if we'll get on a roll and we'll get banned.
I don't know. They don't invite me to these things anymore because I'm too volatile.
Because you don't show up. That's why nobody invites you. You've never been to one. You've never done a panel at one of these, have you?
Oh, absolutely. Don't you remember when I was in that episode on The Next Generation, episode 32? I was crew chief number 9.
Uh-huh.
I did a panel and I talked about how data came on to me and then later came on me. Wrong place.
Yeah. All right. Well,
But no, Bob, honestly, that would be a lot of fun, and I would really like to do that. So maybe we can talk to Nick and Steve and Renee and see if they have any interest. Regardless if they do or don't, I'd still love to do a panel with you.
yeah, I think it would be very, very, very cool.
I don't even want to do a panel. I just would like to come. Do you think I could come and would anyone recognize me? Do you think I'd be pretty safe just to walk around and not be accosted?
I think people would recognize you, and I think this is one of those things where once you meet the people that go to these, and once you kind of hang out for a while, I think you would really love it, and you would probably wonder why you haven't come before that.
All right, cool. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for the sanity check. I was starting to get nervous once I saw those pads, but you brought me back down to earth, so we are all done. Thank you very much for helping, Zach.
I just want to say something really inappropriate. You were nervous about those pads. Is that the same thing you said to your parents when they took you to get when your menstrual cycle started at 13 and you had to go to the store?
I thought you were going to say, was that what I said to my parents when I first walked into gym class and expected?
Oh my God, that's much worse than what I said.
I know.
Okay, listen, I had a great time. Glad I could help, and I'm going to jump off here. But you guys take care, and good work today, Bob. I'm proud of you, and good work to Joe Rediford too. Nice attempt here. Glad I could help.